Hello once again. So in the second part of this tutorial we're going to talk about how to make collision for objects that are more complicated. So this frying pan here, let's take a look at it. If you look at its collision, it's got the default Unreal one, which is not really going to work, right? But if you look, it's very concave, right? So let's take it and export it. Asset actions, export. Frying pan, okay. Let's go back here into Blender. File new. Throw away my knife here. And I'm going to import the FBX that we just exported, right? Okay. So once again, I'm going to go to the materials, and I'm going to delete the material so that it doesn't look weird, and I'm going to delete the existing UCX. I'm going to select my frying pan, and I'm going to hit Control A and apply all the transforms so that we're at scale of 1. So looking at this thing, we're going to need a bottom, and we're going to need an array, right? So first thing to do to fit the bottom, I'm going to hit Tab to go into edit mode, hit A to select everything, hit Control F, and go tries to quads, which simplifies the geometry. I'm going to hit 3 for face and C for circle select. I'm going to hit escape and then go to the bottom and do the same thing. And I'm going to get this nice fan, right? So now you hit Shift D, duplicate, P to separate by selection. Okay. Now we have the bottom up here. Let's go ahead and name it properly. So UCX underscore that. Let's hide this. So if we look at this, I'm going to shade it flat. This fan, let's go ahead and close it up. So if I select these 4 vertices and hit F, it'll close that. Select these 2 and hit F. Keep hitting F. You will close it all the way up. And now we have our bottom. But I'm going to go ahead and hit A and Control E and clear sharp, which is that blue line there. And also, I feel like it's too dense, right? There's too many vertices in this. There's 80 triangles. So if you hit 2 to select edges, and you hit Control, Alt, Shift, then click, there you go, look. Gets me all the edges around. And I'm going to do Select, Checker, Deselect. Then I'm going to do Select, Edge Loops. Now you look, I've selected every other loop. So now I can hit X and do Edge Loops. And now I just have the vertices down, or have the triangles to 40. So now if we show, you can see it doesn't fit perfectly now because we lost half of it, but it's good enough. So that's our first piece. Okay, now next thing we need to do is to create our array, right? So I'm going to select this here. It's very concave looking, as you can see. I'm going to select these pieces here. I'm just going to totally ignore that lip there. I'm not going to try to follow that. If we were going to follow that lip, we would need a whole nother array to fit it. So I'm just going to kind of ignore that array. So now we hit Shift D, Escape, P, by selection. All right. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to rename this properly. There we go. Okay. Now, if you hit Tab to edit, and then you hit slash on the numpad, you can view just this object. Hit A, Control E, clear sharp, Tab, right click, shade flat. There we go. I like to see it like that. Okay, so I want to close it up. That. These side edges are kind of interesting. I might select here and hit E to extrude, then hit Z. And I'm going to go up here and do snap to vertex. I'm going to turn on snapping. I'm going to go GZ and then select this vertex so that it's moved up onto that plane. Now I can select these and close this up. Right. All right. See, this concave part here is going to be a problem. This convex part would be okay. Let's see. I think, so if I make a face here, trying to close this up, right, then I need another face here. So I hit Control R to cut it. I'm going to clean these up afterwards, so I'm just going to make it so we can close it. All right. And you see here, actually it looks like we do have, no? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. We do have an extra. I'm just going to go ahead and kill this edge. So Alt Shift click X edge loop. There we go. So there. So that should close that up. Like that. Right? So right now you're going to have to decide if we want 8 pieces or 16 pieces. I think I'm going to do 8. So if that is the case, then I'm going to have to delete this edge loop in the middle here, right? So edge loops, there you go. This actually needs to be flat or it's going to be a problem. Let's see. So if I select those, loop tools, flatten, there we go. Loop Tools is a plugin, so you can go into Edit Preferences, Add-ons, and look for Loop Tools to turn that on if you need it. I like using it because it has a lot of cool tricks like flatten and also relax and space, which is good if you want to make vertices equally spaced. So we've still got a lot here. I feel like this edge here can probably be erased, so let's do that. But the rest of these are probably necessary. Right. Okay. So I hit the slash again to clear that, and here's the piece we ended up with, which fits inside there okay, and is ignoring this lip, right? So what do you do now? You deselect and you hit Shift A to add something, and you add an empty plane axis. So if you see, it's just an axis. I'll show you what you do with that, empty. You take your piece you want to array, go to modifiers, add an array modifier. You see it created 2 here, and we're going to need 8. But let's turn off relative offset and turn on object offset and select our empty. Right? So now if we take our empty and you hit 7 to do above view, you hit R to rotate, you'll see it's arraying around. So if you hit equals, and you type 360 divided by 8, you'll see it will rotate the right amount to get you 8 in there. Right? So let's go ahead and hide the empty, and let's hide the frying pan. And you can see those pieces are a little janky. So we're going to have to work on them and fix them a little. Right? So you can do that though. So let's go to it, hit Tab to edit it, and you can see there's only one that's editable because the others are the array pieces. Right? I think we don't want it to overlap for one. So let's select that edge and go GY. Yep, GY. There we go. Hope it's still inside there, isn't it? Let's see, what would be the best way to deal with this? Maybe this one? I don't know. I don't want to mess up our shape too bad. Yeah, it's going to mess up our shape real bad. Might just leave it, I think. I'm going to undo what I just did. There we go. Just leave it overlapping like that. I've done that in the past. Although Epic suggests not doing it. Maybe the best thing to do actually would be to scale this down a little. So let's edit it, hit A to select all, S. Oh wait, So if you hit S and then you hit Shift Z, your scaling will not affect Z. So hit S, Shift Z, and now it'll just affect the others. And we'll get it in there a little. There, perfect. Nope, S, Shift Z. There, now it's perfect. Right? Okay. Let's go back to our pieces here. Hit that. So if you see, we're going to need to make them a little wider, right? So you do A, and then do S, and then hit X to scale just on X. Like that, SX. That looks pretty good. All right, so if we do this, you can see how it fits, which is not perfect, right? But pretty good. So the final step here, which is kind of the tedious one, so we have an array of objects here, so we need to apply our array, right? Control A. Now that we've done that, we have to get in there and hit Tab. So hit A to select them all, and hit P and do selection, separate by loose parts. Now you see it made a bunch of them. And what we need to do now is name them properly. So they need to be in sequential order, I think. I know that they need to be different. If they're the same and you import them, then Unreal Engine gets very confused. Oh, I misnamed that one. And if there's multiple pieces in one, it will just not work at all. It'll like combine it into one piece, and then that one piece, if it's concave, for example, will be auto-connected. So like if I combine these into one piece and imported it, it would look like what the collision did at first, where it's like totally closed. All right, so there we have all our pieces named properly, and we can select those, and we can go File, Export, FBX. And let's do Frying Pan, Collision. Select my preset for static mesh again, which is just the mesh that's selected with a smoothing of face and apply modifiers. Right? Okay. Let's go back into Unreal Engine. And we will import the collision. Let's take a look and make sure it looks okay. Yeah, looks good. Now if we wanted that lip, we could have done it. We would have had to have done a whole nother array, or if we wanted these to be fitting better, we could have done 16 instead of 8. That would have been a lot of naming, a lot of arraying, but this is looking okay. So what you do here is you find the object, right? Well, actually, let's open the frying pan. Let's view its simple collision, which is wrong, right? Now you go back to this and you find it, right? Going back into this one, go collision, remove collision, and then do collision, copy from selected static mesh. There we go. Now we have it. Check it out. Now delete that collision that I just made. So now we should see it in the world, and you can visualize it with player collision. See? Like that. So you can easily look with player collision and see things that have proper and improper collision. See? There we go.